Namaste. I am delighted that you are here. Before we begin, I would like to invite you to do something very simple. For just a few moments, be curious. Not about the world, but about yourself. Let me ask you a question that will stay with us throughout this entire series. What if every emotion has a purpose? Think about that for a moment. Not only happiness, not only love, but fear, anger, sadness, guilt, jealousy, loneliness. What if they all exist for a reason? Most of us have spent our lives trying to get rid of uncomfortable emotions. We distract ourselves, suppress them, judge ourselves for having them, or wish they would simply disappear. But today, I would like to explore a different possibility. Perhaps the question is not how do I get rid of this emotion? Perhaps the better question is what is this emotion trying to tell me? In this series, we are not going to fight our emotions. We are going to become students of them. We will explore what modern biology tells us about the brain, what psychology teaches us about the mind, what ancient wisdom traditions reveal about inner growth, and we will also use planetary archetypes not as a focus that control our lives, but as symbolic mirrors that help us reflect on our experiences. You don't have to agree with every perspective. I simply invite you to stay curious because curiosity is where learning begins. Welcome to our journey. Why do we call some emotions good and others bad? Imagine a newborn baby. The baby cries. No one says this is a negative emotion. The baby laughs. No one says this is a positive emotion. Those labels come much later. Somewhere along the way, we begin to believe that happiness is acceptable while sadness should be hidden. That confidence is a strength, while fear is weakness. That anger is always wrong. But let me ask you another question. If you accidentally touch a hot pan, would you want your body to stop feeling pain? Of course not. Pain is uncomfortable, but it is also protective. It helps us avoid greater harm. Could emotion work in a similar way? Could fear, sadness, anger, and guilt each be carrying information that is meant to help us? That is the possibility we will explore throughout the series. Nature communicates through signals. Imagine you are driving your car. Suddenly, the fuel warning light comes on. You don't become angry with that dashboard. You understand that it is giving you useful information. Our body does something very similar. Hunger tells us we need nourishment. Thirst tells us we need water. Fatigue tells us we need rest. Pain tells us to pay attention. What if emotions are also signal? Perhaps fear is asking us to prepare. Perhaps sadness is helping us to process change or loss. Perhaps anger is drawing our attention to a value, our boundary that feels important. When we see emotions as messages rather than enemies, our relationship with them begins to change. Arav question. Let me share a story. A young boy named Arav came home from school one evening looking unusually quiet. His grandfather noticed. What happened today? He asked. Arav looked down and said, I couldn't answer a question in class. Everyone laughed. Now I am afraid to go back tomorrow. After a few moments, Arav asked something deeper. If God wants us to be happy, why did He create fear? His grandfather smiled. Instead of answering directly, he asked, what would happen if one ever felt fear? Would a student prepare for exams? Would doctor double check before surgery? Would pilots inspect an aircraft before takeoff? Would parents rush to protect their children from danger? Arav thought quietly. Then he smiled. Maybe fear was not trying to stop him. Maybe it was inviting him to prepare. And perhaps that is the true for many emotions.